Hi everyone, I am Archimedes, the owl. Today, Crystal Palace, our cultural institution, and I will talk about how to model the different types of locations of a cultural property over time. We call it the time index type location pattern. Isn't it interesting? For our first-time viewers, I would suggest to watch our first episode ARCO tutorial, How to Model the Authorship Attribution. Now, follow me! ARCO is the knowledge graph of the Italian cultural heritage. It has millions of triples which encode facts about the cultural heritage world. Are you curious about the modeling issue in particular?
Yes, I am. I would like to know how to represent the different locations in which the painting Woman Portrait of Caspar Nescher from the 17th century has been.
Hi Crystal, sure. Can you tell me something more about this artwork?
Of course!
The painting Woman Portrait has been in several places over time. It is now located at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, but in 1773 it was involved in an exhibition at the Pitti Palace in Florence, and in 1942 it was stored for some time at the Guidi Castle in Poppi, near Arezzo. It has been in many other locations for various reasons.
Great! I have the right modeling that works for you. Let's go and take a look at the ontology network of ARCO. ARCO is composed of a set of networked ontologies which define the relevant concepts of a cultural heritage domain. The modeling that we need is included in the location module. In this module, you can find all concepts related to the different types of locations of cultural properties through time. For example, where they were created, found, stored, exhibited temporarily, and so on. In fact, a cultural property may have multiple locations, motivated by different perspectives: history, storage, finding, etc. We call these perspectives their types and represent them by the class location type. This class describes a certain location type that a cultural property holds during a time interval. The whole situation, a cultural property being at a certain location type for a certain time period, is modeled by the time index type location class, which specializes the time index situation pattern. In fact, ARCO is based on a situation-centered modeling approach, where the relations among entities are represented as situations. You can learn more about the pattern of the situation by watching the ARCO Foundation episode. Would you like to see the pattern regarding the different types of location, Crystal?
Yes, of course!
This is the pattern time index type location. It deals with modeling the location of movable and immovable cultural properties.
Wow, it seems complex. Can you explain it to me?
Don't worry, I will explain now. The simplest relation is the binary one, has cultural property address, that connects the cultural property with its address.
Okay, so I can directly connect the painting Woman Portrait with its address in Florence by using has cultural property address.
Yes, perfect. It's easy, see?
Yeah, but I would like to represent some extra information about the other locations of the painting.
Sure, tell me.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the painting has not always been at the Uffizi in Florence. That is its current location, but it has been located also in Pitti Palace for a temporary exhibition.
Oh, I understand. Then, firstly you have to consider that the painting is a movable cultural property, that is an instance of a movable property class. This means that in the pattern time index type location, you should use the property at site to associate the work with the physical place where the work has been located. As you see, the class is then connected to the address of the building where the cultural property is located. But remember that these relations are used only if the cultural property is movable, just like our painting. Otherwise, if it is an immovable cultural property, such as the Uffizi or Palazzo Pitti, it will be an instance of a class immovable property. In this case, you should use the @location property to link the immovable cultural property to the geographic informations of its location by means of the class feature, which once again you can connect with the address of the immovable cultural property.
So, to represent the location of the Woman Portrait painting, I will use the @site relation, for example, with value the Uffizi Gallery. In turn, the address of the Uffizi Gallery will be the value of the property site address, that is, Piazzale degli Uffizi in Florence. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Archimede, but how do I distinguish different types of locations? For example, the Uffizi Gallery as actual location and the Pitti Palace as location for a temporary exhibition.
It is very simple, Crystal. In the time index type location pattern, you can distinguish different types of location thanks to the location type class. To represent the information you gave me, you can use the current physical location type and the exhibition location type, but there are other available in the ontology.
Perfect. Then the Uffizi Gallery will have the type current physical location. Meanwhile, Pitti Palace will be an exhibition location. What do you think?
Bravo, Crystal! You're a fast learner.
This is really useful. However, the painting has been in these locations at different time intervals. Can I add this information as well?
The pattern covers this aspect too. Come with me, I will show you. See, Crystal? If you want to represent a time interval or a precise date of the location of a cultural property in a certain place, then you can use the property at time from the pattern.
Great. So, I can say, for example, that in 1773, the painting was located in an exhibition at Pitti Palace.
Exactly. We don't have any more information to represent, right?
Yep, so it seems. I am really pleased to publish all this information as linked open data thanks to ARCO and its time index type location pattern.
If you want more information, here are all the prefixes and the two papers on ARCO Knowledge Graph.